What's going on, everyone? Welcome. Today is Monday, April 25th, 2022. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup. How are you? How was your weekend? What did you do? Did you train? Did you travel? Did you sleep? Did you, I don't know, cut the grass? I suppose there are places where you would do that this weekend. Here isn't one of them. But what did you do? I want to know what you did. I'm glad you are here now. I'm thankful for that. And we'll talk about my weekend. We'll talk about today's episode of Martial Arts Radio. We'll talk about what I'm doing today. We'll see where that takes us. Oh, and we got some, y'all responded to some comments on the Facebook page. Frank sent us stuff. We got more than enough to talk about today. Good morning to Stacy and Liz and Ray and Brian and Andy and Nathan and Dennis. And to all the rest of you, whether you're watching live or later or listening. Ray says, should create a whistlekick opening theme song. We're working on it. In fact, I received somebody's musical contribution. Why is that a hard word for me to say right now? And I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but I'm excited because I know some of the music that this person creates, and it's pretty darn good. So we might have something. Stacy says, almost time for the new page in the Ninja Cat calendar. Thank you. Stacy, if you can help me remember that, because I think we all know how long I waited to show you the April one. Good morning, Nathan. I saw Nathan this weekend. Dennis says, happy all-in weekend week, party people. That's right. We are going to be in Plymouth, Vermont. For those of you who signed up, for those of you who didn't, they don't have any more room. It's closed. You'll have to get in for next year. Hello, Daniel. Daniel says he's driving, but hello. Well, technically he says driving, but hey, folks, if I want to be exacting. Ray says that he got to have a cookout with Andy and Kelly. That's awesome. Great to hear. Well, let me start with what I did this weekend. So this weekend was Teradow's Martial Arts Symposium in Manchester, New Hampshire. Got to see people I had not seen in years, which was awesome. Got to do some training with Bill Superfoot Wallace. Got to kind of share some stuff with the people I partnered up with. Because when I do the Superfoot sessions at something like this, I try to work with people who are not part of our organization. I try to share with them what I know, because I think that's what we're supposed to do. It's what we should do. And so there were 3 different people. Well, one of them I ended up working with someone in the organization because we were working on something a little more technical. But the other 2, I grabbed complete strangers and was helping them through things. And they seemed to have a good time. And they seemed like they learned some stuff. So that was pretty cool. The other sessions, I was in everything from Muay Thai and Weichiru's version of Sanchin Kata to there was some Savat and just a whole bunch of different cool stuff. I had a really good time. Learned a lot. I am bruised up like you wouldn't believe. Let's see if they're still there. Nope. The literal dents in my shin have dissipated. I had some spots. Whew, that's tender. I had some spots on my shins from just banging shins with people. Not quite intentionally, but sort of. And it was unpleasant. But you keep going. You figure it out. Good morning, Gad. Good morning, Jenny. Brian says, haircut Saturday. Going away send-off party for his sister moving to Hawaii. His wife got a new RAV4 hybrid. Went to Manchester yesterday. Netted an additional $2,500 above the local dealership's offer. And went to Olive Garden. Sounds like a busy but good weekend. So the other part of this weekend was that I got to room with Paul and Andrew. Andrew was there. Andrew had a good time, met a bunch of people. And I think, you know, once we're done with All In Weekend, we've got a handful of things that he and I are going to work on, including Free Training Day. And now that he's been to this event, which I consider to be the closest thing to Free Training Day, well, there's one other that's a little bit closer to free training day. But this is pretty darn close to the root concept that I looked at. So now that he's been there, we'll have more ideas. We'll be able to take things even further. I'm super excited. November 12th. November 12th for those of you in the Northeast. October 22nd for those of you in the Northwest. We're working on others. Stay tuned. Jenny says, my son says he will attempt to make you a first cup countdown theme. That's awesome. Thank you. If it ends up being, if we end up having more than one, I'm more than okay using different ones. That would be awesome if we had different ones, like a Monday theme, a Tuesday theme, or just, we mix it up. Either is fine with me. Pardon. Dennis says he was doing yard work all weekend. Jeremy has seen my yard. It needs a lot of care and attention. It does. Nice. And he did some shooting this weekend. Good stuff, you guys. Sounds like you had a good weekend. I'm happy for you. Made some new friends this weekend. Some people that I'm sure will end up on the show. Some great people and a great mix of people. And I'm just really thankful I went to this event. If all goes as intended and as discussed, I will be teaching at this event next year. It is generally mid-April. So I would encourage all of you, as you're kind of planning ahead, if you are in the Northeast, you should consider attending. It's a fun event. It's not free. It's not free training day. That's okay. It is still worth the money. Stacy says, the Twitch theme song, the Twitter theme song, and Friday, just imagine it. And Gabe and Jenny, I'm guessing it's Jenny, says, Northwest Free Training Day. Woohoo. That's right. That's right. All right. What's going on today? Meetings. Oh, that's good coffee. This is the Costco Starbucks blend. I haven't had this blend in forever. It's so good. Bunch of meetings, some of which are getting canceled, moved. It's going to be close to 70 degrees later today, so I am going to be outside as soon as possible. That may mean if I can make things happen, I'll do some work in the yard. I may or may not go hiking. I just want to be outside moving. Close to 70 degrees in April, you better believe it. Probably shirtless. Let's be real. It's 70 degrees is going to feel hot. It's like 20 something right now. And it's Monday, which means there's an episode. Let's see what episode came out. 704. What's episode 704? As we go to Dropbox, because I don't look at YouTube anymore for this. Podcast, episodes, current. 704, Jeff Nasanov. Let me reacquaint myself with Jeff Nasanov. Oh yeah, this guy. Here, I'll just read you this one line. First major goal was to earn first degree black belt. Inspired by that to pursue my dream of working for NASA. Accomplished that. Yep. Martial artist who works for NASA. I don't know that there's a better way to describe Jeff. I remember the episode now. It's the hard part when you record 3 or 4 in a day, and they might have been recorded 2 months ago. It's blurry for me. How many past guests were there this weekend? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is it at least 9? If I count myself, it's at least 10. Probably were a dozen. Or people. I'm trying to remember who was there because it was just such. Everybody was all over the place. Let's call it a dozen. And there are several more people that said you're coming on the show. There was one person that I got to hear some of their stories, and I said, this person needs to come on the show, but but they can't tell any of the stories that they just told. These are um, intense stories of violence. Stories that I would not be comfortable having on the show because they're that intense. Um, but if we can find the right way to handle that episode, I think it would be incredible. Take care, Andy. He's off to work. So check out episode 704, Jeff Nosanov. Should be in your podcast feed. If not, it'll be there soon. Same thing with YouTube. It will be there. I don't think we aired this one in video. I think next week I'm giving you a bonus video version on Patreon. For those of you in that tier, we're trying to do that more and more because it's easier. Well, I shouldn't say it's easier. It is easy to do. Why not? Why not give you good stuff? Oh, you know what else I have to do today? I have to send out like a dozen whistlekick swag packs because people went insane on Thursday and Friday and bought a ton of them. We had people buying half a dozen of them. Okay. I will put those together later. Nice. I don't think there's anything else. So let's move on. Let's see what Frank gave us to talk about. Actually, before we do that, the question for this morning for all of you, pretty straightforward. What's in your cup? So you can think about that. Don't answer yet. Some of you still struggle with this part. Just hold your answers. And I got to share this. I didn't set that up yet. I feel like I haven't done this show in weeks. It was 2 days. I will tell you, sleeping in my bed was wonderful. What did I have? 1 night out of the last 5 in my bed. I like my bed. My bed is comfy. All right, and then we switch this thing over to here because that's a better angle. There we go. And we've got some quotes here from Gandhi. If you want to change the world, start with yourself. Now, we could say that if you want to change the world, start with yourself in like a really nice, gentle, fluffy way. Or we could say it far more aggressively, which given the current state of the world is really where I'm at. If you want to change the world, change yourself. You have far more control. I saw somebody, and I applaud the self-awareness. This person is someone I know personally, but I don't imagine would ever see this show. And she posted, she's concerned about environmental things and makes a post about people leaving trash, mask litter, and other things around, and is scolding people for doing so. And then in the next post is saying, and then again, I'm, drinking out of a plastic cup while my vehicle is running, not taking public transit, yada, 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 right? Everybody wants everyone else to make sacrifices. Nobody wants to make sacrifices themselves. It's easy to tell other people what to do. It's much harder to own up for yourself. So, number 2, there are 2 days in the year that we cannot do anything. Yesterday and tomorrow. How do you make the most out of today? How do you use today to get what you want tomorrow? How do you learn from yesterday to do better today so you can get what you want tomorrow? Introspection is valuable. A lot of people avoid looking within. How do I evaluate what I just did, the form I just did, the sparring match I just had, the techniques I just did, the class I just went to, so I can perform better? One of the number one things I think we miss in martial arts is critical self-assessment. Some of us are overly good at it to the point of being ineffective. That was terrible. Okay, why was it terrible? Oh, it just sucked. Okay, what could you do better? Everything. That's not helpful. I've told you about my habit where at the end of the day, I try to check in. What did I do today? Did I check my 4 boxes? Did I have social time? Was I outside? Did I have movement? And did I feel like I accomplished something? Right? Those are my 4 check boxes. May have a different set of check boxes that make your days good. You could do something similar for martial arts training or for competition. If you've ever seen me talk to usually kids or first time competitors at a martial arts competition, I have 2 boxes. Did you have fun? Did you learn something? If you can check those 2 boxes, you're good to go because you will return and you will get better. You might have other boxes for training. Did I have fun at class? Did I progress on something that I know? Did I learn something new? Maybe that's important to you. Did I have some training with someone that I enjoy working with? Right? Like there are a bunch of different things, and there's no right or wrong set. It's just have them and be aware of them and take a look at what you've done so you can learn tomorrow. Or how did I do last time? And can I adjust my mindset or my intention or how I approach things today? Daniel says, I nearly bought a swag pack, decided against it with the postage. Message me on that, man. Let's see what we can do. For those of you who don't know, Daniel's in the UK. Josh says, he provides a quote for us here. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. MJ, aka Michael Jackson, man in the mirror. Stacy asked, did you make a new friend? I don't know if that's a question directed at me or if that is a checkbox for you. I definitely made new friends this weekend. There were some folks. So I think most of you are likely aware of the imbalance in what I do. People see and hear me. I do not see and hear them. Most of you, in fact, maybe even all of you, have had more time watching or listening what I do than vice versa, right? There were people at the event this weekend who very clearly know who I am. And some of them, it was really funny, came up to me. Now, I may have met them once. They looked vaguely familiar, and this happened multiple times. They do not reintroduce themselves, and they're giving me hugs, and I'm fine. Like the physical contact does not bother me, so I'm not put out by that. But I'm kind of like, who are you? You obviously know me. I don't know you, and I think people forget that. And there are times when it's appropriate, and I can say, "Hey, remind me of your name." There are times where it feels like that's going to hurt people's feelings, so I don't say it. Happened a couple times this weekend. There were people who were just super psyched to see me there. It's like, great, thanks. I'm going to go over here and kick people now. But there are so many great people in the rooms that ego just really doesn't exist. I mean, there was one notable exception, but my expectation is that person will not be invited to attend again. Stacy says, making new friends was a checkbox for her at tournaments. Absolutely. I get that. All right. Last one here from Gandhi. Carefully watch your thoughts, for they become your words. Manage and watch your words, for they will become your actions. Consider and judge your actions, for they have become your habits. Acknowledge and watch your habits, for they shall become your values. Understand and embrace your values, for they become your destiny. Some of you know I really harp on language. People using certain words. Karen was there. Hey, Karen. She says, great people who don't mind being kicked, hit, punched, and choked made for a fun weekend. Yeah, undoubtedly. Some of you have probably even heard me scold you personally. Be nice to yourself. Use good language. Oh, I suck at that. Well, yeah, as long as you tell yourself that, you will. Be as kind to yourself as you would to other people. The majority of us are our own worst critics. And just because I don't hear you saying it doesn't mean I don't believe that you're saying it in your head. This is a really difficult thing to do, especially if you're someone who, like me, is self critical in an effort to become better. I'm always trying to get better, everything that I do. And evaluation with an eye towards progress will inevitably lead to some self critique, but it can be done positively or negatively, just as when you share it with someone else. Hey, when you're doing that form on that third turn there, try doing this. You might find better success with it versus that third turn, terrible. I don't even know where to start, right? Like those are two very different ways of presenting roughly the same information. We deserve that same respect from ourselves, self respect. It's a principle we talk about in martial arts often, being respectful of oneself. Kelly says, yes, I have been scolded. It's interesting because there are a lot of things that I will hold back on when I'm around other people. I try to let people do their own thing. I try not to judge others. I really try to just kind of listen and learn. But when I hear someone being mean to themselves and I don't think they recognize they're doing it, I'm going to say something. Because if I'm around that person, I probably value that person and I want that person to value themselves, and that language matters. And it's been fascinating because I have some people who push back on it. Blah blah blah. Can you rephrase that? Can you be nicer to yourself? Well, and they get mad. It's interesting because they get mad at me. They start to get upset with me. It's like, well, hold on. If the roles were reversed and I had done this thing, would you be critiquing me in that same way? Well, no. All right then. Then I'm right, and you should just accept it and be nice to yourself. I'm not asking you to do something bad. I'm asking you to be nice to yourself. But it's so ingrained in most of us that it's really hard to catch. The easiest first step that I've found is try to avoid the words should and could. I should have done that. I could have done that. That's where it seems to come through for most people. Those words, when you hear the word should or could, that's where you can avoid things. And you can pull those words when you're talking about other people too. You should be able to do that. You should be able to do this. You can do this. Should, when you use it to describe other people, should and could, it's giving them an out. And it's not. It's just they're not healthy words. Stacy says, Kelly Thomas, indeed, me too. Gotta love Lesniak. Well, you don't have to love me, but if you do, I appreciate it. Ooh, I like this. We're going to switch over and you're going to tell me what's in your cup in a moment. Kelly says, sometimes in class, I pair people up to say nice things to their partners and they have to say thank you. I tell the kids, then glued those comments to your heart. There is a line in between healthy and unhealthy criticism. Healthy criticism, to me, kind of mimics what I was taught as the first rule of improv. If any of you have done any improvisation, it usually boils down to yes and. When someone does something, if you're improvising a scene, you could be improvising a sparring match. You could be in an actual sparring match. Yes, and someone throws a technique at you. You don't say, no, do a different technique. Now, maybe there's a drill that you're working where you would do that. But generally, if we have some kind of free form movement, that is a group improvisation. It's a group of two people. You throw a particular technique at me. I acknowledge that technique by hopefully moving or defending or just getting hit by it. And then I respond, yes, and. Okay. Healthy criticism can be that too. Yes, and. You put a lot of effort into that. You've come a long way on that. You're just learning that, but you have the confidence to do it. Sometimes you got to look really hard for the yes. Good job not falling over on that punch. Right? You got to find something, right? Some people call it a compliment sandwich. And so, good effort on the form. I can see you've been practicing it. Now let's take a look at that third turn. Yes, and. Yes, and. Instead of saying, oh man, I really should have done better when I did this session this weekend. I stepped into a session that I was uncomfortable, and maybe the instructors weren't the best instructors for the way I learn, but I put in the effort and I learned some things that I can work on like this. Yes, and. Thank you, Stacy. Love you too. I love you all. You guys are great. You show up to what I continue to maintain is the most ridiculous premise for a show. Most of you, day after day. You don't have to. And I appreciate that. All right. What's in your cup? Sounds like the worst sarcastic kind of parody for the end of the movie Seven. What's in the cup? All right. And here we are for Monday. What's in your cup? Dennis says, Dunkin' Turtle Dove K-Cup, 2 stevia, 2 tablespoons of Coffee Mate natural creamer. Is it really natural? Mark says, Sumatran coffee, and like Bruce Lee tells us, I will empty my cup. Nish says, Folgers, with a question mark. And Daniel says, gin. Good stuff. So I'm back to coffee, full strength coffee. Did have quite a bit of coffee this weekend because there was a lot of being up late and waking up early and driving and physically intense movement. How many Superfoot sessions did I have? 3, 4? Plus plenty of other stuff moving around. I will say, the one other thing I will say is that at lunch on Saturday, this was the thing that I did that made me uncomfortable. There was a sparring session. Just kind of free form, pick it up, bunch of people, whoever's there, you can spar. And I didn't have my gear with me. It was in the room. So I just put on my boxing gloves. And I saw who was there, and I said, you know what? There's nobody in here I know that will intentionally hurt me. So I'll step in. And despite not having sparred in a couple years, I was very pleased with how I did. So that was good. I was thankful for that. Made me happy. Karen says, Folgers with maple syrup and cream. Ooh, nice. Gad says, had dark roast coffee in my Spider-Man mug. Awesome. Jenny says, have a great day. Catch you tomorrow. Take care, Jenny. Ray says, we do a thing called positive inquiry. That's the idea of instead of looking at what went wrong, you look at what went right. There are so many ways to do self-evaluation, but there's this thread through society where in the West, in Western society, we are so afraid of being perceived as bragging, right? I can come out and say, and here's a perfect example. If I was to come out publicly, let's say I go on Facebook, which I think is probably the best representation of humanity at this point, sadly enough. And I put up 2 different posts. Let's say somehow I find a way, half people see one post, half see the other. One of them says, I had a great week last week. I absolutely crushed it. I made $20,000 and went and bought a Mercedes. I would have a bunch of people commenting. Actually, we'd probably have a bunch of likes. Probably have some people saying, good job. And there would definitely be people saying, must be nice. Now, I've pushed away a lot of the people who would say must be nice, but I still have them. They're still around. Now, what if the other half saw um, credit cards are maxed out, ate ramen 4 times last week? I would get more people responding, more people saying, I get it, right? To be accepted in society, we have to put forward this image that we are suffering like everyone else. This is what we've been conditioned into believing. We don't. I'm at the point where the people who are not going to, and this happened when I put up the Jeep, the people who are not going to celebrate my wins, those are not my people. I don't need you around. It's all in how we look at it. Let's see what else we got. Jason says, good morning. I've been back on tea lately, particularly fruit tea. We've also had a number of boba places pop up around town, so I tried tapioca pearls again as a grown-up. Not bad. I've never had boba. I've heard good things. Good morning, Tom. Tom says, great seeing you and Andrew this past weekend at the symposium. Awesome seeing you, my friend. Stacy says there's an actual training on appreciative inquiry. Had some work with a local leader on this. Totally right. Oh, that's great. I would like to learn more. Stacy, can you send me something on that? That sounds fascinating. And Jason says, although I'm really good at talking bad to myself, this is something I actively try to redirect, even shut down in the kids I teach. They usually start with, I can't do it, to which I reply, don't worry, I will never ask you to show me what you cannot do. There's that. If you look at any of the motivational montages on YouTube, most of them contain a line of Will Smith saying something, and I forget, was it? I don't believe it's his line, but he says, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. Right? And I hear his voice saying that. And it's true. If you think you can't do something, there's no way it's going to happen. Go try this technique that you don't think you can do. Here's one for you. Go break that 3-board setup that you don't think you can break with that technique. What's going to happen? You're going to hurt your hand. You have to believe you can do it in order to commit enough to get the result. Why is whistlekick doing what it's doing? Because I believe we can get where I want to go. I believe we can. I do. Genuinely, with all of my heart, we will get there. Is it scary? Yes. Do I have moments of doubt? Yes. But that doesn't mean I don't believe. Belief doesn't mean that doubt doesn't creep in. Belief means you see the result. You are headed towards it. I'm sure marathon runners have moments where they doubt the results that they're looking for, but they keep running. Gad says, boba, best Taiwanese invention ever. Try the pudding boba. And Stacy says, you're going to bounce off the boards. Well, that sounds like a good way to be. And I think we had one. Nope, we finished those up. We got what's in everybody's cup. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. And if you want to show some appreciation back, remember, we've got the Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick with bonus, exclusive, kind of good stuff like that. Behind the scenes, stuff you won't find truly anywhere else. Starts at $2 a month. You can pick something up like a mug or whatever at whistlekick.com. You can use the code FIRSTCUP15 to save 15% on something like a hoodie. I delivered a custom dragon hoodie this weekend, and the recipient was thrilled. And of course, if you want the full list, including additional bonus stuff, different bonus stuff than is in the Patreon, it's whistlekick.com/family. Got to type it in. Remember, we do this show every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we are on Twitter. Tuesday and Thursday, Twitch. Every day, we are on Facebook and YouTube. And if you've got questions or comments, watch the Facebook page, facebook.com/firstcup with Jeremy. If you don't do Facebook, that's quite all right. You can email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. That's all I've got for you today. Until next time, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Peace.